Good evening. Hi, Kathy DeMattias here. I'm coming to you from Newark, Delaware. In my office, this is my office where I do all the healing work that I do. I've been a massage therapist for 20 years, and I've been an esthetician for 17 years now. I came out of the closet several years ago as a psychic medium, and in the beginning of my training, I remember, I was having a very difficult time just wrapping it around my head that I was a psychic medium. Like that was like just trying to accept that and go with that. And I remember them saying to me, you have a lot more things, that are coming out. You have a lot more capabilities that you have not even addressed yet. And they were right. I have a lot more capabilities that I was not addressing. And so there was, I'm on page 57 in my book. And on page 57, we were staying at the Wyndham Hotel in North Carolina, I believe.
South Carolina.
South Carolina? Okay, South Carolina. And I woke up one night, I saw death. And it was literally one of the scariest things. I literally shot right out of the bed. And in the next couple, I came home early. And in the next couple of weeks, I had another dream about death. And I just didn't know who it was around. And it wound up being one of my son's best friends. And it wound up being a heroin overdose. And then it was one of the it was literally one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with in my life. And I can't even imagine how hard it has been for his parents. So this morning, I was talking with a friend of mine who's a medium from New Jersey. And Corey always bounces in, like he always says hi. Like I always know him when he's around anyway, and I think of him all the time. So but it's nice when I hear it from somebody else that he was like, hey, congratulations on the new car. So we got a new car a couple of months ago. So it was like, oh, that was kind of funny. I was like, thanks, Corey. And so I'm going to read a little bit from page 57 in my book. In a few days, I would be attending my first class and finally getting some help. I was not sure as to why I was getting these dreams of death. What was I supposed to do with this information? It seemed out of place for me to call someone with some random message making them worry about something of which I did not even have the full picture. What was I supposed to do with that information? When that dream came, and I remember I talked to another local medium, and she said, it's to learn. I was devastated that I couldn't help Corey. He wound up being in my driveway, and I took him home, and he was gone the next day. And I couldn't save him. And I wondered, why did God give me these abilities if I couldn't save anybody? And I remember there was a minister that I was going to a church at in Hockessin. And he said, but you did save him. And I think in my mind, I pictured saving him, meaning that saving him to stay here on earth. And then I read a book by Anne Keegan. It was about her brother. And he talked, he was talking to her through heaven, and he helped her write a book from heaven. I can't remember the name of that book to save my soul right now, but I know it was Anne Keegan.
When that Afterlife of Billy Keegan.
Oh, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers.
Or
That's what it
Fingers.
was. It was The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. And reading that book really helped me to deal with the emotions that I was having over not being able to save Corey. And it's difficult to be called to a profession where your job is to help make people feel better. And I've been doing that as a massage therapist for 20 years now. You know, people call me when they're in pain, and I put my hands on them and do my magic, and they feel better. And this was not something that I could put my hands on and fix. And for the first time in my career, and being a medium was accepting a different aspect of my career. My whole career as a massage therapist, I could make people feel better in an hour. I couldn't save Corey. I couldn't keep him here. There was nothing I could do. And then these things, they call them psychic attacks. And I remember being at the BJ's the day before the plug, the day before they harvested his organs, and I remember walking in and going to the left and, you know, going through the flyers, and this man just started screaming and hollering at me, and I didn't even know really what I did to him. And I was very upset throughout the whole store. And when I went to the checkout, the man at the checkout register knew, he could tell that I was not doing good. And he said to me what was going on. And I said, you know, my son's best friend is on a life support system, and I don't think he's coming back. And they said to me, oh, well, you know, that's in God's hands. And I was like, I know. And I said, and I walked in here and some man started screaming and hollering at me, and I didn't even know what I did. And he said to me, he was like, ooh, that's the devil attacking you because you tried to save the kid. He said, they don't want you doing that. He was like, so you're going to get attacked by people, and that's just the devil doing stuff. And I've had those experiences happen over and over and over again. When I attempt to do what I need to do to help people, and those spiritual psychic attacks happen, they are difficult. They do happen. Sometimes you actually will feel like blows, like I'll actually feel like a punch to my face. I've had that happen before, or I've been hit, you know, from behind. And, you know, I kind of get pissed off and I'll scream and holler at them, you know, stop hitting me. But it's, you know, it's difficult. This is a difficult job to do. And it's difficult when you're called to a profession that's to help people in an energetic type of way, because you can't physically see energy like how you know, like you can see this paper, but energy you don't normally see. It's like a feel, or a knowing, you know, like you just all of a sudden know it, but it's like these feelings that you feel. And this has been, you know, it's difficult to talk about this. I have a difficult time talking about this. And throughout my whole career, I have always remained quiet And I've waited and sat back for people to come to me. In this last year, I reversed that mindset. And instead of me just sitting back quiet and waiting for people to find out about me, I have changed my mind and have started to say, I'm going to talk about me. And I'm going to talk about what I do. One of the last chapters that I wrote in my book, and it took me literally up until almost my book was ready to go to the editor before I could write the last chapter. So I've been talking about heroin, and I've been talking about psychic attacks, and I have done 2 exorcisms. The first one that I did, I had no idea that that's what I was doing. It was just this really black energy that I was pulling out. I was speaking in tongues. The second one, I didn't even have those options. I just free fell into someone's hell and saw things that I can't even fathom that I saw. It shook me to my core. I still, to this day, have trouble dealing with it. It was the scariest thing I've ever gone through before. Which is why I'm so desperately trying to help people find love. Because the other capabilities that I have are a lot more scary. I have no idea what direction I'm going to be going in the final. If I got to have my way, if I got to have my dream, I would have my pretty little retreat center. I would have people coming up, and I would have love being healed. That's not what always comes to me. And sometimes I have to do battle with some very dark forces and deal with that. It's not easy doing what I do. It takes a tremendous amount of energy when I do a healing session on somebody who is being tormented by alcohol or drugs. It isn't easy. But it's also not easy watching somebody be tormented by drugs and alcohol. So, they say that, or I could say, well, I didn't ask for these capabilities. I didn't ask to do this. But anytime you start to work and you start to read up about this other world, the psychic world, you realize that when you make your plan to come back here, you kind of put a blueprint in. Like, I just didn't come back to Earth with no plan. I obviously made a plan, right? why would I come back to Earth with no idea as to what I was doing? So, this is it. This is the real me. This is who I am. And it is difficult to do this job. But every day I get up and I go to work. And tomorrow I'm going to be lucky enough that I get to do a facial. And the funny thing is her story is in the book too, but I gave her I gave her a fictional name, but I put her session in there. And when she called me today, I haven't heard for gosh, probably 9 months, and she called me today. It's getting ready for the holidays, so she wants her face to look really good. So we're doing the manual dermabrasion on her, and for the next 6 weeks. And I was like, oh, I want to let you know I put you in the book. And she was so excited. And that brightened up my day. You know, that brightened up my day. She was so excited to hear that that her story is actually going to be in print come December 15th. And so those are when I get to do a session on somebody and have something amazing happen. When her husband came through. Those are the highlights. Those are the things that make this job easier. When I have to deal with the difficult parts of this job. But I was obviously up for the task. Otherwise, God wouldn't have given it to me. And I'm obviously way stronger than what I thought I was. Because I was able to write about it, and I'm able to tell you about it. So I'm no weakling. Writing this book was literally the most difficult thing that I have ever done in my life. And getting myself prepared to release this book has been equally difficult and challenging. But each day, I somehow manage to get through it. And you can too. Kathy DeMatteis,